Okay, this is going to be part one of my canines snaring. I got a lot of requests on how to make snares, what kind of snares I use, what my setup is, what my bait setup is. So this is going to be part one, and this is about snare building and what I do with my snares after I've built them. I boil them in baking soda, so I'll tell you that right now. After I've got my snare built, snares, then I boil them in baking powder or baking soda, sorry, for, I don't know, maybe I simmer them maybe for 2 hours, and that takes the shine off of the snare. And then what I'll do is I'll put the snares in a container. I have buckets like this, little buckets. I can fit 75 coyote snares in here. I have my tools and everything in there, so when I walk into the bush, all I do is I have this little pail here, and I can carry like 75, not that I set up 75 snares at one single bait, but at least I don't have to carry in a bunch of heavy stuff and bulky stuff. I can just carry this in, and I got all my tools in here, and away I go. So very, very simple. So next I'm going to show you what kind of cable I use. So this is the kind of cable I use. This is 1/8 7x7 that I use for my tail on my wolf snares. I use 3/32 7x7 for my tail of my coyote snares. This is 3/32 1x19. That's my actual snare. And then for coyotes I use 1/16 cable 1x19 for my coyote snares. And I'm going to be building a wolf snare today, but I build my coyote snares exactly the same. You can see here, this is what I use for my coyote snares, 4 feet of cable. And also for my wolf snares I use 5 feet of cable, and that's right here. So for my wolf snare, for the tail, I use a heavy duty inline swivel, and you need 2 double furls for the tail. This is what I'm going to use for the tail. For my snares I have 2 washers, 2 single stops. For a coyote I only use 1 single stop. I have my my stinger spring, my trigger for my stinger spring. Then I have my cam lock. And the type of snares I use, it's very important that you have teeth in your cam lock. These are modified cam locks. And I have a 750 pound breakaway on here for my wolf snares. And for my coyote snares I have, I believe it's a 350 pound breakaway, but I'm not 100% sure. I'd have to check. And then you need 1 double furl for building the actual snare. Okay, so the next process is, and then I have a bench swagger. If you're going to build any amount of snares, I highly recommend a bench swagger. So with that being said, we'll build a snare. Okay, I already cut a tail for my wolf snare. This is the loop that goes around the tree. And for my wolves, I make sure that it's crimped tight. Okay, after I've got my loop done, take the other end, put my double furl on, my swivel, cinch it up, okay, now I've got that tight. That's my tail. My tail is complete. So just put that to the side for now. Now I'll grab myself a piece of 3/32 1x19. Got it? Okay. My double furrow on. Now grab that swivel of my tail. Cinch it up. Okay. Ow. Oh, one thing I forgot. Is a piece of plastic tubing. This is where my tie wire goes that I support my cable with. This is actually really important, and I'm going to cover this when I actually set up a snare. Plus it makes it real quick and handy, so slide that on first. Okay, next goes my cam lock. I always forget this. I don't like this. I haven't built snares in a while, so. No, this can't be right. Yeah, it is. Okay. So we've got that on. Next, the washer. Okay, and then my stinger spring. Okay, my trigger. Washer. Single stop. And another single stop. Okay, now I'm going to crimp these. Oh, wrong one. Other single stop, I slide it right next to the single stop that's already on there. Okay, so that's my snare. Okay, one thing I'm going to say about building a snare, you never ever want to fight the natural curve of the cable. Okay, if you try to see what happens, you never ever want to do that. You don't want to fight the natural curve. Okay, so the snare has been built. Now you might be wondering where my loop is. It's between the cam lock and the breakaway. So there's my wolf snare. Right there. Okay, and look how quick it is. Look how quick it fires. You got yourself a wolf. I barely touched that. Really fires really quickly. Now what you do is you take this cable around the tree, like so. Okay, this is stuck on your tree now. So really nice setup. I highly recommend these snares to anybody. What I like about it is you can take an awful lot of snares in the bush with you. So there's your loop for your wolf. And it fires really quickly. So, next what I will do is I'll take my setting tool and I'll show you how to set this this trigger onto this stinger spring. Okay, this is what you need. This is the stinger spring setting tool. Okay, all you do is you put the stinger spring in. This is going to kind of be hard to show the camera. Okay, and you just compress it. Oop. Now your stinger spring has been set. And what you want to do, important, to set the trigger on the wire side of the stinger, because this thing will really fire quickly now. If you set it on this side, it takes more to fire it. So that's where you want it to be. So what happens is, with this snare, you don't want that stinger spring, that trigger, to fire too quickly, because otherwise it doesn't do anything. What you want is, you want this to cinch up around the wolf's neck. As soon as he feels this, or coyote, this little piece of tubing is holding the snare in place, and it gives a little bit of resistance. So what happens, as soon as that wolf feels this snare, he's going to give this a tug, and this little tube here will make sure this snare is tight. And once that snare is tight, I've seen what a wolf does. He will run and lunge forward until he hits the end of this snare. And when that happens, this stinger spring will fire. And when that spring fires, it's game over. Last year, out of 12 wolves, I had one wolf that was still alive. And it had just gotten into the snare. And I checked my snares every other day because they were at coyote baits. And out of 72, I think, out of 72 coyotes last year, I had one coyote that was alive with this system. And I checked every other day. And literally, I was setting about 80% of my snares. I reset them back up right on the trail that I had it set. If these snares are set properly, they are very, very lethal. They put the animal down really, really quickly. So, like I said again, I highly recommend these snares. So, a quick video on some of the spare. These are about half of the spare parts from last year's snares. So, as you can see, all of this I can reuse. This is all good shape, and like things like this is all good. I don't even have to put a new breakaway on that cam lock. Still good to go. So that's one advantage of these snares, just the amount of material that you can reuse on them. So one more thing I do is before I even start making snares, I'll go through my inventory. These are all the tails off of the snares, off of the coyotes I caught last year. So as you can see, I can build a lot of coyote snares, but I still have a couple hundred coyote snares in the shed, so I'm not going to be making any coyote snares, except maybe I'll make one for this video. And then what I do is I just go over some of my snare, make sure I have everything. I am short some swivels, and there was something else that I'm short of. I'll find out that later. So I have them separated. This is all for my wolf snares. These are for my coyote and lynx snares right here. So, and then I got all my snare tails from the wolves I caught last year. What I'll do with these tails, is for wolves I inspect my cables. So I see some of them are pretty kinked up. Those I'll probably use for something else. And then like this swivel here, you can see what a swivel is supposed to look like.